I'll just get you guys thinking for a couple slides, and then basically they're going to give us some of their best tips for researchers, what they're really looking for and what works for a conservation story for those very different publications, and maybe a few things that they really hate that they get from researchers if they feel like it. So I thought I'd just start. This is my dad's sign for the March for Science. My dad is a retired theoretical physicist, as you can probably tell by this terrible sign. I love him, but objectively, factually, this is awful. He explains like the greenhouse effect, and it's like 3 signs in one. And I think this is a classic example of misreading your audience. So, he's used to teaching physics classes. That's what he did for 20 years. Maybe talking to scientists. If you're at a march and people are just going to see your sign walking by, they have 3 seconds, you need to just stop them where they are. This is not going to cut it. The acid green 90s internet aesthetic aside, awful. And yeah, I feel bad because I'm an editor and it should be better, but it's hard to edit your immediate family. So the thing he should have put on there was the first thing he told me when he heard about the march, which was, Rachel, alternative facts are lies. His opinion, not mine. But you need to hook your audience, get their attention, and then you can come at them with the evidence and the story you have, I think. So I gave a workshop to some natural history researchers recently, and this is kind of how we think in the newsroom and other places I've been. If you're at a cocktail party, we want to be your most interesting and well-informed friend. What are you going to lead with? So if you meet me, you're going to tell me that you work on barnacles? Or are you going to tell me that you discovered the first barnacle to make lasers? That one. So think about starting with your lead. How are you going to connect it to my daily life? What sparkling fact are you going to lead with? So what we're always asking ourselves at Smithsonian, which is going to be different than these publications, and we do a lot of daily science, a lot of study coverage, but I think these are pretty general. So why should your reader, living their daily life, drinking their coffee and scrolling through their phone, care? Why is it relevant to their daily life? Why is it significant, or what's the larger impact? What's the story behind the study? If you have a personal connection or there's an interesting way you came up with the question, we really want to know that, and that's not in the journal article at all. If it's basic research, can you talk about potential applications? Even if you're speculating, and please make it clear you are, we will mention that, but we want to know the potential and how to get people excited. And then for us, Johnny was really kind about our traffic, which actually is over 9 million a month. But it's not me. It's Nazi gold, dinosaurs, and fossilized poop. Those are things that our readers really love. We know our readers well. They're very quirky. And if I see that in your research, then I'm interested in covering it. So know your audience, again. Yes. So, yeah. I also wanted to mention that, I think that we really respect scientists, and you're clearly the masters of your scientific domain. We respect your expertise. You know everything about the sexual habits of the barnacles that only exist in tide pools in Monterey. And we don't want to dumb down your research. We don't want to turn it into clickbait. We want the specific stories with all their nuance and complexity and richness and caveats. And the difference for us is framing, like my dad's sign. You're the experts in your subject. We know how to tell a story pretty well, usually. A couple pieces of wisdom I'll leave you with. Ross said this at a science writers meeting. Editorial talent distilled is being easily bored, which was brilliant. And that's actually from his writer, Heather.
Yes.
Heather, whose name is hard to remember now.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Heather Havrilesky. I always have to credit her with that.
Yes. Yeah, got to cite where it's due. So it's not that anyone's research is boring, which my co-editor reminded me to say to researchers, since she has a PhD in chemistry, and she's like, don't tell them they're boring. It's really condescending. I'm like, yes, it's not that. It's more that there's intense competition, and really we do come across 100 pitches a day, and we meet a lot of really fascinating, great researchers, and we have to make hard decisions about what to highlight and what stories to tell. So kind of keep that in mind. Don't want to put pressure on you, but there is an elevator pitch and a lead that you want to start with. And the other quote that I always remember is Joel Achenbach, a science reporter at the Washington Post, was talking at a conference, and it's my favorite audio clip of him ever. He's talking to a zoonotic disease expert at a zoo about whether a disease could jump from animals to humans, and the expert keeps talking to him in kind of science jargon and words that are not going to translate well to radio. And he finally is like, just tell it to me like I'm the drunk guy at the bar. Like, I'm interested, but I have no idea what you're talking about, and you need to hold my attention. Like other versions are telling me like I'm 6 years old. So you need to start that way to give them a window in, and then we can get into the details, basically. So I will start you off with that, and I will let these editors take it away, actually, on what they're looking for in a great story and how you can be that story.